Seo Taemin filled the first crystal glass, then the second. Dark red wine climbed to the same line in both. Nadia Cole watched his right thumb press the black stone of his signet ring. A hidden lid opened. Pale powder slipped from the ring and vanished into the glass nearest her. Taemin closed the ring, pushed that glass across the table, and held her gaze without blinking once. "Drink it." Nadia's fingers moved toward the stem. She stopped before touching it. Taemin's face gave her nothing. No anger, no pity. Not even the small warmth she had once believed belonged only to her. The room had no windows. The powder curled beneath the wine like smoke trapped underwater. 3 weeks earlier, Nadia still believed the most dangerous thing inside Seo Crown Hotels was the account glowing on her computer screen. The compliance floor had emptied for the night, but Nadia remained at her desk beneath the cold blue light of 2 monitors. One restricted account had opened after months of searching through buried records. The company attached to it had destroyed her father's business and left him branded a thief. Then Nadia saw the account holder. Her own employee identity was moving millions through companies she had never heard of. Her breath caught, but her hands stayed steady. She connected a small encrypted drive and began copying the transaction history before anyone could stop her. 40%. 52. A payment list flashed past, tied to private security routes and medical suppliers. Before the copy reached 60, the screen went black. The office doors opened behind her. Kang Jisoo entered with Park Jun-ho and 6 members of the night staff watching from the corridor. Jisoo did not ask what she had found. He announced what everyone else was meant to believe. Company funds had been stolen through Nadia's protected access. He lifted her employee badge from her chest and pulled until the metal clip snapped. The sound was small, but every face on the floor turned toward it. Remove her access, search her bag, then take her downstairs. Junho stepped forward, duty hardening his face. Nadia held up both hands before he could touch her. Check the account first, while everyone is watching. Jisoo turned her dark monitor toward the room. The page had vanished. No account, no payment trail, nothing except her interrupted download window. Jisoo looked almost sorry for her. That frightened Nadia more than open cruelty would have. He had prepared this before she arrived. The private elevator opened before Junho reached her. Seo Taemin walked out alone, charcoal black suit sharp against the gold-lit lobby. Nobody greeted him. The whole room simply went still. His eyes moved from Nadia's broken badge to Jisoo's hand, then to the unfinished copy on her screen. "Why?" he asked quietly. "Are you removing the only person who noticed the theft?" Taemin turned a tablet toward Nadia. The access record showed her workstation opening at 2:13 that morning, long after she had left the building. It also showed biometric approval from her fingerprint and face. Someone had not guessed her password. Someone had copied her completely. Nadia looked at Jisoo. He watched Taemin instead. That was when she understood the accusation was only the first move. Before we see why Taemin stopped his own men, subscribe to Afro Korean Soulmates TV. Every subscription tells us that the work behind bringing you premium stories like this is worth it. Inside Taemin's surveillance office, blue-gray camera feeds covered an entire wall. He replayed the moment Nadia's empty workstation activated. The chair never moved. No person crossed the camera. Then a dark monitor caught a reflection from outside the frame. A hand reached toward the desk and a heavy black and gold ring flashed beneath the sleeve. Nadia leaned closer to study it. Taemin closed the footage before the face appeared. "Play it again." Nadia kept her eyes on the blank monitor. Jisoo answered for him. A skilled thief can manufacture a reflection. Nadia faced him. A skilled thief would also know when to stop talking. Junho's mouth tightened, almost hiding a reaction. Taemin showed no open amusement, but he did not punish her. He asked what she had copied before the account disappeared. Nadia told him she had created an automatic release. If she failed to enter a private code each day, the evidence would leave her control and reach people outside his company. Jisoo demanded that she be detained at once. Taemin studied her as if the room had finally become interesting. "You walked into my building carrying a threat." Nadia shook her head. "Your building gave me one." Taemin dismissed everyone except Nadia and led her into the private elevator. The doors closed on Jisoo's unreadable face. "Give me the files," Taemin said. "Help me trace the account, and I will keep the accusation from becoming public." Nadia looked at his right hand. His fingers had begun to tremble against the polished brass rail. Threats sound better when the man making them can hold himself still. His hands stopped at once. Taemin stepped closer, but Nadia did not retreat even 1 inch. A purple puncture mark showed beneath his shirt cuff before he pulled the fabric down. For 1 second, his breathing changed. Then the cold mask returned. "You notice too much." Nadia met his eyes. "That seems to be why I am still alive." The elevator opened onto a private parking level. In the rear cabin of Taemin's sedan, the city slid across the dark windows in broken gold lines. Nadia refused to call herself his prisoner. Taemin said prisoners were usually far less argumentative. It was the first thing he said that almost sounded human. He explained that the missing money had funded attacks against him. Someone had chosen Nadia's identity because her ruin could hide theirs. The car carried them to his penthouse, where Jisoo and Junho were already waiting inside the study. Nadia demanded the original records, secure contact with Lena, and the right to leave once the traitor was found. Jisoo rejected every condition. Taemin granted most of them without looking away. When Nadia touched the antique brass key at her throat, she missed Jisoo raising his phone beneath the desk and taking a silent photograph without making a sound. Inside the guest suite, Nadia called Lena through the secure tablet Taemin had provided. She kept her voice low, but not because she trusted the walls around her anymore. Lena listened without interrupting, then asked the question Nadia had been avoiding. "Are you sure he saved you?" Nadia looked toward the closed door. "No," she admitted. "I think he decided I was more useful alive." The door opened without a knock. Taemin entered carrying a tray himself, something that clearly offended the 2 guards standing outside more than it surprised Nadia. He set down a bowl of peppered stew, rice, and fresh ginger tea for her. Lena's voice came through the tablet. "That is either thoughtful or terrifying." Taemin glanced at the screen. "Your friend has excellent instincts," he said. Nadia ended the call and followed him into the quiet private penthouse dining area nearby. Taemin poured ginger tea into 2 black cups, then pushed one toward her. There was no sugar beside it. She looked up. "How did you know?" "You rejected 3 sweetened drinks at the office." He said it like evidence, not care. Somehow that made the gesture more dangerous. They worked through the transaction list in near silence beneath the low gold chandelier. Nadia traced one payment through 4 shell companies while Taemin studied the private security routes attached to it. His fingers tightened around the cup. The porcelain clicked against the saucer. Once, twice. Then his hand locked completely. His breath shortened and the color beneath his skin began to drain away. Nadia caught the cup before it struck the table. Her other hand closed around Taemin's wrist, holding him steady while the tremor ran through his arm. "Look at me." His eyes lifted, furious that she had seen him weakened. The cuff pulled back beneath her fingers. A second purple puncture mark sat near the first, small enough to miss unless someone knew where to look. The first lie in Taemin's house was no longer hidden. If you are still watching, tell us where you are watching from, what time it is there, and drop the emoji that best describes how you feel about Taemin right now. Nadia has entered his home, but the danger clearly entered before she did. Junho arrived before Taemin could order Nadia away from the table. One look at the overturned cup changed his expression completely. Nadia demanded the medical records. Taemin refused. Junho hesitated, then admitted the episodes had continued for months. Weakness after meals, sudden dizziness, tremors that disappeared before doctors could measure them. Every test had returned normal. "That is not normal," Nadia said. "That is controlled." While Junho argued with Taemin, Nadia folded a clean napkin over the spilled tea and pressed until it absorbed every last dark drop from the table. She slipped the cloth into a small evidence sleeve from her bag. Taemin noticed. "You steal from every room you enter? Only when the owner keeps trying to die in it." For the first time, his anger almost turned into amusement. Before dawn, they returned to Seo Crown Hotels to retrieve the physical ledger tied to the hidden account. The underground garage smelled of cold concrete, oil, and rain carried in beneath tires. Junho checked the vehicle lane first. Taemin kept Nadia close to the nearest pillar. She hated how quickly she noticed the position of his body between hers and every open stretch of darkness. The ceiling lights died in a single line, racing toward them until the entire garage went black. An engine started without warning. Headlights exploded across the lane. A black sedan accelerated from the far ramp with no driver visible behind the windshield. Junho shouted. Nadia froze for half a second, long enough to understand that the vehicle was not trying to escape. It was aimed directly at her. Taemin seized Nadia around the waist and pulled her hard behind the concrete pillar. Her shoulder struck his chest as the sedan tore past them at full speed. The side mirror clipped the pillar and burst. Glass sprayed across Taemin's back and shoulder. He bent over Nadia, shielding her with his body until the vehicle crashed into a parked car and the garage filled with grinding metal and smoke. Junho reached the sedan first. The driver's seat was completely and impossibly empty. The navigation system had been wiped before the wheels stopped moving. Nadia touched Taemin's sleeve. Blood had begun soaking through the charcoal wool near his shoulder. You are hurt. It missed you. That was not the question. His eyes stayed on the wreckage, but his hand closed briefly around hers before letting go. Back at the penthouse, Nadia made Taemin sit on the dressing room bench without another argument. She cut away the torn shirt fabric and cleaned the shallow line of glass wounds across his shoulder. He watched her in the mirror. Stop looking at me like I did something noble. You threw yourself in front of a car. You were closer. Nadia lifted one eyebrow. Terrible liar. A quiet breath left him that was almost a laugh. Nadia's fingers slowed near the final cut. For one dangerous second, neither of them looked away. Then she saw a hard black square beneath the torn lining of his suit jacket. She reached inside and removed a tracking device no larger than her thumbnail. Taemin's expression changed before she even placed it in his palm. In the security room, Jisoo examined the tracker beneath the gold task light. He claimed it belonged to official Seo protection inside the estate and immediately turned his suspicion toward Junho. Junho denied authorizing it. Nadia watched both men while Taemin stood between them, too controlled to reveal whom he believed. Jisoo placed the device on the table. Perhaps Miss Cole brought it into the house herself. Then Jisoo opened a sealed folder and slid one document toward Taemin. The financial account Nadia found used her father's inactive company. Her father's company. The room seemed to tilt beneath her feet at once. That business closed years ago, Nadia said. Jisoo's eyes remained calm. Closed businesses are useful. Dead men cannot object when their names are used. Her father was alive, but Jisoo had spoken as though that detail might soon change for everyone involved. For several seconds Nadia could not move. Her father's company had been closed and stripped of everything except its name. Yet someone inside Taemin's empire had kept that name alive. She lifted her eyes to him. Did you know? Taemin did not answer soon enough. That delay hurt more than a lie. Nadia pushed away from the table and walked out before Jisoo could enjoy watching her break. Taemin found her on the penthouse balcony, gripping the cold railing. Soul spread below, while the key at her throat tapped against the metal. My father spent years clearing his name, Nadia said. I joined your hotel because I thought the proof was inside it. Taemin stopped beside her. You were never looking for a job. No. I was looking for the person who buried him. Taemin looked across the city instead of at her. My father taught me that anyone who needs you will sell you. By 12, I knew every kindness came with a bill. Nadia turned toward him. The cold man from the elevator disappeared for one unguarded second. Loneliness is not strength, Taemin. In my family, he said, it was often the only thing that kept you alive. His phone vibrated between them. The screen showed only the private signal reserved for Seo Dongwon. Taemin silenced it. Nadia saw the change in his face. Your father? He stopped earning that word years ago. The phone rang again. Taemin turned it face down. The small act told Nadia more than enough. Whoever Seo Dongwon was, his son still deeply feared what answering might cost. The next morning, Nadia entered the penthouse kitchen and stopped beside the island. Warm bowls of peppered stew, grains, roasted vegetables, and familiar spices waited beneath the morning light. Taemin stood near the window with coffee. This is not an administrative correction, she said. It is food. It is 6 dishes and emotional avoidance. One corner of his mouth moved briefly before he looked away. Nadia lifted the folded delivery receipt from beneath a serving plate and asked when he ordered everything. Taemin said the kitchen handled it. The answer came too smoothly. The food had arrived before she mentioned missing familiar meals. Someone had studied her habits long before Jisoo tore away her badge, and Taemin was hiding how much he already knew about the watch placed around her life. Before Nadia could press him, Junho entered quietly and said the Seo family expected Taemin at the estate. The alliance meeting with Yoon Mira could not be delayed at all. Nadia folded her arms. Alliance? Business, Taemin said. Junho's face suggested otherwise. Taemin told Nadia she was coming. As what? His eyes held hers. As the woman no one is permitted to remove from my side. The Seo estate reception hall was full when they arrived. Advisors and polished guests stood beneath the chandelier in careful groups. Yoon Mira crossed the room in an oxblood gown and greeted Taemin as though Nadia did not exist. Her hand rested on his arm. Taemin removed it without apology. Then he asked Nadia whether the drive had tired her. Everyone noticed whom he addressed first. Mira waited until Taemin joined Hyejin. Then she stepped beside Nadia near the staircase. He does not rescue people, Mira said. He studies what they need, gives them enough, and keeps them close until they become useful. Nadia watched Taemin across the room. Mira's voice softened. You think he sees you? He sees leverage. The warning landed because Nadia had asked herself the same thing. Madame Seo Hyejin approached before Nadia could answer. She wore ivory silk and the calm face of a woman who never showed where she bled. Walk with me. Hyejin led Nadia from the hall through a locked corridor into the estate archive. She asked permission from no guard. Every door opened before she reached it. That frightened Nadia more than Taemin's men had. Inside the archive, Hyejin placed an old photograph beneath the single gold beam above the table. Nadia saw her father at once. He stood younger and smiling beside Seo Dongwon at a warehouse opening. Their joined hands made them look like trusted partners. Nadia touched the protective sleeve. My father said the Seo family destroyed him. Hyejin quietly answered, Your father did not tell you everything. Nadia demanded the truth, but Hyejin removed the photograph and locked it inside a hidden drawer. Some truths do not clear the dead, she said. They create graves for the living. My father is alive. Hyejin watched the drawer. For now. The words struck Nadia hard inside the room. Before she could stop her, Hyejin opened the door and called for Taemin. Taemin found Nadia in the garden pavilion after dark. She stood beside the pool with anger holding her upright. You knew our fathers were connected. I did not. You expect me to believe the head of this family knows less than I do? Taemin stepped beneath the warm light. Since you entered my life, I have discovered my empire was built on doors I was never allowed to open. The anger between them loosened, leaving something more dangerous. Taemin reached toward the brass key at Nadia's throat but stopped. I always knew what everyone wanted from me, he said. Then you arrived wanting truth more than my protection, money, or name. Nadia's breath caught. What am I to you? His eyes held hers. You are becoming the one thing I cannot control. Taemin moved closer, and Nadia did not step away. The unfinished confession was clear enough to change everything. Then Jisoo entered carrying a black document case. He removed a sealed transmission record. Confidential files left the estate through Miss Cole's connection. The warmth vanished from Taemin's face. Nadia looked at Jisoo and knew the evidence was real enough to hurt, yet false enough to destroy her. In the council chamber, Jisoo displayed the transmission. Nadia admitted sending one encrypted fragment to Lena as insurance, but denied sending the full archive. Mira said Nadia had used Taemin's interest to gain access. Taemin ordered her devices taken and confined her to the guest wing. He did not let Jisoo touch her. He did not defend her either. As Junho led her away, Nadia looked back once. Junho closed the guest room door behind him and lowered his voice. Taemin had ordered him to keep Jisoo's men away from Nadia before the council meeting even began. The confinement was a performance, not surrender. Nadia wanted to believe that. Then Junho admitted Taemin had also ordered him never to tell her. Protection hidden inside another lie still felt painfully close to betrayal. Lena's secure call arrived through a borrowed service tablet. The tea sample contained a rare slow-acting poison that left almost nothing behind once it entered the bloodstream. Lena had found the same compound in an old insurance report from the fire that destroyed Nadia's father's warehouse. The account, the poison, and her family's ruin were no longer separate mysteries. They were one design. Nadia and Junho entered the restricted records archive through the service corridor. She matched Taemin's medical episodes against private dinners, wine deliveries, and security changes. Every serious collapse followed a meal arranged through the same inner circle. A fresh shipment had entered the estate that morning under Jisoo's authorization. One item was expensive wine. The second was a single emergency neutralizing compound. The medical container held enough antidote for only one full dose. Nadia stared at it while the meaning settled over her. The dinner was not designed to test loyalty. It was designed to leave one survivor. She copied the delivery sequence onto the service tablet and told Junho they had to reach Taemin before Jisoo decided which glass belonged to whom. Jisoo was waiting outside the archive. He took the tablet from Nadia before Junho could block him and displayed Taemin's written order restricting her movement. His smile was almost gentle. He said Taemin had already chosen who would sit across from him at dinner. Nadia understood then that Jisoo had expected her to find the antidote. The discovery itself had been part of the trap. Taemin came to Nadia's guest room alone. He had changed into a charcoal black dinner suit, but the tremor had returned beneath his right cuff. He placed her antique brass key pendant into her palm and closed her fingers around it. Nadia asked whether he believed she betrayed him. He said belief was no longer useful. Then he asked her to wear the key and come with him. The private dining room was smaller than Nadia expected, enclosed by black glass and lit by one low gold pendant. Taemin locked the door from inside and placed his phone face down on the table. 2 crystal glasses waited beside a dark bottle. Nadia heard the lock engage behind her. Taemin did not offer a chair. For several seconds, neither of them spoke. Taemin opened the bottle and poured the first glass, then the second, stopping at exactly the same level. Nadia watched his hands instead of his face. The tremor had disappeared, replaced by frightening control. He set the bottle down, pressed his thumb against the black stone of his signet ring, and opened the hidden compartment she had never known existed. Pale powder fell into only the glass nearest Nadia. It spread beneath the wine in a thin white cloud before disappearing. Taemin closed the ring and pushed the glass toward her. The moment from 3 weeks earlier had finally arrived exactly as she remembered it. Every act of care now looked rehearsed. Every warning Mira gave her seemed suddenly and horribly true. "Drink it," Taemin said. Nadia left both hands in her lap. She asked whether the tea, the food, and the protection had only been ways to keep her calm until he finished using her. Taemin's jaw tightened, but he did not defend himself. Nadia told him that if he wanted her dead, he would have to watch her understand exactly who he was first. Something broke behind Taemin's eyes. He told Nadia that looking at her was the reason he could not do what his family expected. Before she could ask what he meant, he lifted the untouched second glass. Nadia reached across the table, but his hand was faster. He drank the wine in one controlled swallow and placed the empty glass down between them. For 2 seconds, nothing happened. Then Taemin's breath caught hard. His fingers slipped from the stem, and the glass shattered against the black floor. Nadia reached him before his body struck the table. Blood appeared at the corner of his mouth. His weight collapsed against her arms, too heavy for control, while the calm mask he wore for everyone else finally disappeared. Taemin forced his eyes open. The wine had been poisoned before it reached the room, he told her. The powder in Nadia's glass was the only antidote. The conspirators needed to see which person survived, so he had chosen before she entered. Nadia looked at the untouched glass and understood the cruelty of his silence. He had made himself appear monstrous so she would live. Nadia lifted the powdered glass to his mouth, but Taemin could no longer swallow. The wine ran uselessly against his lips. She struck the emergency panel and received no response. Taemin whispered that the room had never been sealed for privacy. It was built so the organization could confirm a death without witnesses. His hand tightened weakly around her wrist, then went still. The black privacy glass cleared. Madame Seo Hyejin stood in the observation corridor with one hand pressed against the pane. Nadia dragged Taemin closer to the door and demanded that she open it. Hyejin looked first at her son, then at the untouched antidote in Nadia's hand. Fear moved across her face. "Do not let them know he is still breathing," she said. Footsteps sounded beyond Hyejin. Jisoo appeared with armed Seo guards and asked whether Taemin was dead. Inside the room, Taemin's fingers moved once against Nadia's wrist. She covered his hand with her body before anyone could see. Jisoo entered the unlocking code. Nadia held the antidote in one hand and Taemin's hidden pulse beneath the other as the final lock released. Comment Part 2 if Nadia should risk everything to keep Taemin alive. Subscribe to Afro Korean Soulmates TV, because Jisoo is opening that door, Hyejin is hiding something, and Nadia has only seconds to convince an entire empire that its leader is already dead.